If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. Daddies, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter, he's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stacked that he knows when he goes back to this mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go back to this moment and hope it don't pass him.
Listen, we can talk about the flag, but let's talk about... Wait.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media Live. As we are every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m., Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Make sure you share the show out and follow DSM Media on all social media platforms. Do us a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, click the subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate that. And make sure if you're watching on the other platforms, you head over to the YouTube page. It's the best place to get interactive. Put your comments, your thoughts, your concerns. Good morning, Big Ed. How you doing today? We've got lots to talk about today. We're going to jam-pack. We've got the fatal four-way for the Undisputed Championship happening in Citizens Bank Park. And it's distracting us from what's really happening at the bank, which is an awful Phillies product this past weekend. All the nonsense that's going on in the clubhouse and in reporters on social media distracting us from the disaster that this Phillies team put out there coming out of the All-Star break against a minor league baseball team. I had all plans on talking Eagles, Jalen Hurts, football, camp opens tomorrow. But this Jim Salisbury, Nick Castellanos, Jaime Apody, Matt Gelb, fatal four-way is just got my mind wrapped around a pole so much because so much bad happened this weekend. Mark Jaime, and he's on Team Apody. I'm always Team ABC because, Gary Papa was my man. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. I am Phil Stiefel, your host at Beard of Knowledge. If you didn't know already, then that's Jason Voorhees at Mustang3651. Jason, we just got swept by the freaking AAA Chicago Cubs. Drew Smyly had a perfect game in the fifth inning yesterday against our team. We couldn't even watch two of the three games because they were on streaming services. But all Philadelphia sports is talking about right now is the Jim Salisbury, Nick Castellanos feud that then, out of nowhere, out of left field, became a Matt Gelb and Jaime Apody feud. And for those that are listening, let me go through the whole entire thing before I get Jason in here. Saturday night, after the game, tough loss again to the Cubs. Jim Salisbury asked Nick Castellanos, do you hear the boos? And of course, Nick Castellanos frustrated. I'm not saying it's a good question. It's not a bad question. It's Jim Salisbury's right to answer the question. It's also Nick Castellanos' right to not be happy with it. And Nick Castellanos' answer was, what, do you think I'm deaf? I can't hear him? And they bicker back and forth a little bit. All right. Jaime Apody put this clip up on social media, and it was edited a little bit. It did show that there was some more questions in between, but it did show that Castellanos and Salisbury continued to beef a little bit. And then Matt Gelb decides to get involved. And Matt Gelb, I don't want to read the whole entire thing, but I'm sorry, you have zero standing here. Congrats on all your retweets. Come talk to me when you're at the park. To Jaime Apody. What's up, Adam? You know what's up? What's up is we're fighting amongst ourselves about reporters instead of talking about the fact that the Phillies scored 7 runs, maybe, this entire weekend. Drew Smyly almost no-hit us. And this is what we got to talk about? Jim Salisbury, Jason, very respected reporter. Love Jim Salisbury's work. I think even Michael Barkan got involved this weekend trying to get Jim Salisbury's side. And then Jaime Apody, 6ABC, she's super respected. Powerful woman in sports media, raising a family, doing all that great stuff. What the hell did Matt Gelb decide to get involved like that? Where's that beef coming from? This here, Jason, and this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to turn it over to you. This is an embarrassment for Philadelphia sports media, the way this entire situation was handled this weekend. What are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, I know you're a huge conspiracy theorist, so I have a thought. I'm wondering if these four are all on the Phillies payroll, and the Phillies paid them to do this in order to distract us because of the fact that they suck right now.
I mean, I'm not. It's probably not true, but it wouldn't be the farthest thing from the world to happen. You know,
I mean, I'm just wondering, like, the team just put up a clunker in an important series coming out of the All-Star break, and as you mentioned, we're talking about dumb questions. We're talking about reporters being called out here. I don't get it. I mean, I know we'll get to the team, shortly, but obviously this situation, I agree. I think it's a disgrace. I don't know where it's coming from. There's obviously something going on. There's an underlying feud going on that had to happen before this, because I don't see this kind of angst coming out over one guy making a question that's, maybe his choice.
So and I want to bring up George's question here, and talking about, all locker room questions or pointless questions, definition by questions, whatever. Still, athletes get paid well to give acceptable answers. Is there, I mean, I don't know. Do you like when a reporter asks, because we've heard these kind of questions before in Philly, because in all Philly sports, players get booed when they're underperforming. And we've seen different type of responses from the athletes. Does Nick Castellanos, as the big free agent signing, get a $100 million contract, the gold star of what Dave Dombrowski signed in the offseason, does he owe it to the fans, to the media, to everybody, to just not be, all right, you're frustrated. We get that. Doesn't he owe us a little bit better of an answer? Or just an answer, well, I heard them, next question. He could just pull a Marshawn Lynch, next question. By him saying and going on and on, well, I can't hear, and then other people saying, well, did you hear this? He's almost baiting Jim Salisbury into an argument in that point. So does Nick Castellanos, do athletes, owe us or owe the reporters a better answer in that kind of a situation? Look, we look at Alec Boehm. He got caught on camera. Oh, we lost Jason there. Alec Boehm got caught on camera saying, I effing hate this place. And he manned up and accepted it earlier this season. He didn't go throwing a fit and act like a child, and he's a young guy. Nick Castellanos is a veteran. He's been in the league for 7-8 years. Does Nick Castellanos owe us a better answer? And I think he does. I think it's very important that even if he doesn't want to answer the question, then just say, next question. By bringing up these other things here, I think he's created a bigger situation there. What's up there, Jason? Welcome back.
Frickin' Philly sabotaged me.
Yeah, I mean, they heard you figured out their little conspiracy theory, and they kicked your internet off. So I'm asking, I don't know how much you heard of my description there, but does Nick Castellanos owe everybody a better answer? And I brought up Alec Boehm doing the right thing earlier as a young player, knew to do something better there. Nick Castellanos, no.
He absolutely owes a better answer. I think it's obvious that Nick Castellanos is in, we keep saying it every week. Oh, he's going to get it turned around. He's going to get it turned around. Dude, we're in like almost August. Like, I'm at the point now where I'm like, honestly, I know nobody wants to hear it, but dude, he needs to take a seat on the bench. I know, we don't have a lot of bullets, but what's he providing you? He's providing nothing at the plate virtually. And I think that Rob Thompson should sit him. And I do think that the pressure it's obvious that it's the pressure that he's cracking under, because when athletes get like this, when they have short fuses and their responses are kind of to the counter of the way that they should be, as far as the optics, you can almost guarantee that yes, the boos are getting to him, and it was a dumb question. Salisbury probably shouldn't have done it, but I guess we're at the point now where
you could even phrase the question differently, because I want to get to another thing that you said, combined with one of George's comments in a second there, that kind of sparked something in my mind. But Jim Salisbury could have just simply said, do you have a message for the fans that want to see you do well about your struggling? What are you going to do to get out of this struggle? Like, you can phrase the question like that. Basically he's saying, did you hear the boos? But he could just phrase it a little differently. Like,
that's turning a negative into a positive.
Yeah. What would you like to tell the fans about your slump and what you're doing to get out of it at this moment? But anyway, I want to get to, you said Rob Thompson, and George is saying athletes are human too. I mean, he goes into the rest of the comment here about the locker room, and he's got to be more professional. And I absolutely agree with that. Rob Thompson, is he failing Nick Castellanos as a manager? Because we've been talking about it for weeks. Nick Castellanos has got to get moved down in the order. Nick Castellanos needs to get 2 or 3 days off to clear his head. He did just have the All-Star break, but he's still obviously struggling. Does Rob Thompson, I mean, every player wasn't in the locker room at that moment to answer questions. Why is Nick Castellanos the one fielding the questions from the players there, or from the reporters there? Rob Thompson's got to do a better job of protecting Nick Castellanos, but also help him by maybe giving him some time off. Dropping him from the 3 to the 5 hole is a little bit, maybe 7 hole, maybe not have him out there. Maybe he should have done it 6 weeks ago. Is Rob Thompson any part to blame in this situation?
I mean, I do think there's a lot to be said there. And like I said, I've been a huge Rob Thompson truther, but the truth of the matter is Thompson is failing as far as that, part of the lineup. Like, when you have a player of that caliber, I think you tend to try to have more patience. But I continue to say, I don't want to say he's scared of Castellanos. I think he's scared of making that type of decision for fear that he might get blowback from Middleton or, Dombrowski, because they put a lot of money out here. And once again, a lot of times, I'm not saying that it is being a decisions made up top, but certain things, I mean, why is Odubel still on the team? I mean, we've talked about that.
Right.
That, is that necessarily Rob Thompson's fault? Or is that more so a paradox of, the fact that he's here because Middleton brought him back, and it's basically an ownership type decision. I don't know the answers, but what I do know is Nick Castellanos is providing absolutely nothing in this lineup. Yeah. I mean, he gets a hit here or there. He knocks in an RBI here or there, but he was brought here as a power hitter and to be a strength in this lineup, and he's done nothing but fail. I'm not ready to give up on him.
Adam's saying here, Castellanos strikes out. He has no emotion, like he doesn't care, and that's it. Philly fans want to see emotion. Whatever team, whether we're talking Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, they want to see their players show emotion. When Alec Bohm cusses out the city and then apologized and said, "Yeah, manned up." They love that emotion. Castellanos strikes up, whatever. And
the irony of that is, I remember that picture that was posted of him, basically rolling over a catcher when we signed him, and everyone was like, "Oh, a Philly guy." Well, you know what? Maybe he's not a Philly guy. Maybe he's not. And that, I think our expectations were set so high on Nick Castellanos that the fact that he's failing so miserably is almost inflating the way that our feelings are now as fans, because we had such high expectations, not only about the team, but I know myself, when we signed Castellanos, I was like, dude, that's the needle mover. I was like, that's it. They did it.
That made me predict 82 wins instead of 80.
And it's embarrassing. I mean, I don't know what the problem is. I know that
Look, Blue City Empire Sports. This is why we love Joel Embiid so much. The emotion that he showed when he lost. That is exactly why we love him. That's why he's proud right there. Him and Bryce Harper are the two most beloved people in this city right now because of the emotion they show. And then, you look at the thumbnail, the picture I posted, in front of this show. If you go back out of the show after the show and you look at it, it's a picture of, Nick Castellanos, and he's just like, he almost looks like he's drugged, like in an insane asylum. He's got no emotion on his face whatsoever. This team should be pissed off. Look, we just spent 15 minutes and we haven't talked about the fact that they just got smoked in 3 games against one of the worst teams in baseball, a clear rebuilding team. And all we're talking about is Nick Castellanos, Jim Salisbury. And look, I don't even want to bring Jaime Apody's name because she did nothing wrong in this situation, in my opinion. Matt Gelb, he works for The Athletic. I mean, I never pay for paywall service type reporting. I'd rather not, do that. I've never paid for that. The Athletic better sit down with him. It's a very reputable site, The Athletic. People really heavily value what people say when in their bio it says The Athletic. Matt Gelb was way out of line. Way out of line yesterday or Saturday night, Sunday morning when this all went down. They need to really have some words with him. He needs to issue an apology, in my opinion, because I think he took it too far, in my opinion. Again, like you said, there's got to be some underlying circumstance. But all this that we're talking about, now we're at the 16-minute mark. We haven't talked about the Phillies actually sucking awful this weekend. It's pathetic. We want to see emotion from our players. We should have seen emotion from our players. They should be mad that they just got swept by the Cubs. Not, whatever. And is that what the problem with this team might be? That, outside of the streaky players, outside this and that, outside the injuries, there is no the loss of Bryce Harper to injury for as long as it is. He was the heart and soul of this team. That you can't have just one heart and soul guy. You need some more people that care a little bit on the team.
We've talked about this. How often? We've talked about it. I feel like it's a broken record. We've talked about the fact that the Phillies lack leadership. Mm-hmm. They have a manager, but we talked about the fact that on every baseball team, there's always that one player that kind of drives the bus. Mm-hmm. And we even mentioned that Bryce Harper, although he might have some characteristics where he leads, he more so leads by example. He's Correct. Not a vocal leader. This team still lacks that. And we thought a lot of people were starting to think that it was Kyle Schwarber. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just white noise. I don't know, dude. What I do know is this team is lackluster. It's a disgrace to me for them to come out after the All-Star break knowing that you're still fighting for a playoff spot, to come out and put up a stinker like that. And where is Dave Dombrowski? I mean, listen, I get it. Maybe he doesn't want to make a move because of this. Maybe he knows that the team's just not good enough. And I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he's just taking a wait-and-see approach and seeing how's the market going to evolve. But to me, if I'm a GM of this team that just, Middleton put his ass out there and he finally did spend the money.
Stupid money.
What are we doing?
It's looking like it was stupid money spending $100 million on Nick Castellanos now.
I mean, I'm not ready to give up on Nick Castellanos for.
Right, I'm not either. I mean, Nick Castellanos.
He's here for 4 years.
What I'm going to say,
this year might be over for him.
Well, I want to say, and we've said it. People have said it in the comments. We've been talking about it. Some people are just not made to play in Philadelphia. This could be the spark plug that starts. I mean, at the end of the season, Nick Castellanos might say, "Yo, I want out of here. Trade me."
I mean, don't know. I wouldn't
crazy to think that might happen. He doesn't look
crazier things, right, Phil?
Absolutely.
Terrell Owens. I mean, I'm not comparing them. They're not the same comparison, But we've had players that have come and then all of a sudden wanted out the next year. I mean, it's happened a lot actually in this town. I know it's like infuriating because, like you said, we had other things we wanted to talk about. And here we are.
I'm not even getting into Big Ed. Your son got into a little bit of a tiff with Jacob Voracek yesterday on social media. I don't even have time to cover that. I don't even that's like so far down the line to cover that. I gotta wait till he's back on the air for that one. But yeah, let's just transition a little bit here. We got smoked. This team, it's crazy to say, we're still, after getting swept by the Cubs, we are still just one game out of the final wild card spot. This team's not out of it. But yet, can you realistically be confident the team can make the playoffs when they go out? Look, I said it, and I got subtweeted and called out for it. I said that the Marlins series, sweeping them before the All-Star break, was pointless if you come out and get swept by the Cubs. And everyone's like, no, it's not. It still means you won 3 games. Well, going 3-3 against the Cubs and the Marlins, that's not good enough. Okay, 3 wins in a row, getting counteracted by 3 losses in a row, completely washes the slate of those 3 wins. It just does. T.O. had thick skin. The fans weren't the issue there. Yeah, that was somewhat of a different, but I think he was comparing just the wanting out of town because of all the issues. Dude, you cannot go out, and you bring up Dombrowski making trades. It takes 2 to tango there. Maybe Dombrowski's trying, but they realize the Phillies team sucks. Who do we want on the Phillies team on our team? They don't have any minor leaguers to trade for that are desirable. The Phillies are, I predicted an 82-80 Phillies team this year. And I hate to say it. They're not going to be much better than that unless Dave Dombrowski makes a big move. And this weekend proves it. You've got starting pitching issues. Kyle Gibson, still not a good enough pitcher every single day. You either get 7 innings, 1 run, Kyle Gibson, or 1 inning, 7 runs, Kyle Gibson. You still got Bradley Falter getting trotted out there every so often. Zach Eflin, nowhere to be seen. Matt Vierling, I was thinking of Matt Vierling yesterday because they bumped him up to the leadoff spot, Jason. Matt Vierling is an okay young player. We don't know what he's really going to be. But Matt Vierling as your leadoff hitter, Matt Vierling with pressure to set the table, that's a problem when Matt Vierling has to be that guy on your team. Matt Vierling should be the 9th best player in your starting lineup, not being forced to be, a leader of the team. Didi Gregorius, we got a lot of issues. This is not trade for a pitcher, and all of a sudden we're good. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
I mean, other than Bryce Harper, you have Alec Boehm as your leading hitter, batting .282, and you have your backup catcher hitting .277. He's your 2nd best hitter on the team. That's a problem, dude. That's a problem, a massive problem. And you could tell me all you want that average means nothing in this game and yada, 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 but I'm tired of hearing that when you have all these other teams around the league have guys that hit 300 and have 30 home runs. So I don't want to hear that average is overrated and it's all OPS because, listen, I love what Kyle Schwarber's done, but it's either home run or nothing. We need more than that. We need a team that actually can play small ball. We need a team that can go up there and have plate discipline. Where is the plan? Where the hell is the plan with this Phillies team, Phil? Especially at the plate, because it's an embarrassment. And I know I say it, and it's like a cliche now. It's like streakiness. This team is built on streakiness, but it's rearing its ugly head because they'll get 1 or 2 games where they hit, and then they go to friggin' sleep. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I need consistent baseball. I need a team that shows some heart and emotion. And I know some people will say we're overreacting here, Phil. You guys are overreacting. It's overreacting. A 3-game series against the Cubs. They've been turning it around. They've been playing better under Rob Thompson, yada, yada, yada. You're going to say all that, and you're going to say that it's an overreaction. But it's not an overreaction when this team, we all know, is probably at the bottom of all the teams as far as making the playoffs. And you're fighting for that spot, and you come out and you don't give a damn.
Look, again, but I'm going to tell you, and you know what? This will be the thing that most people don't like about what we say on this show. It starts with Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson, I said it when he was promoted. It was June 1st. I'm like, dude, let's not make him the interim for the rest of the year. He cannot be the leader for the rest of the season. It's not like it's just the last 2 weeks of the season. You were giving him June, July, August, 4 months to lead this team. You get energy from somewhere. Your manager can't spark you, then that manager's got a problem. Rob Thompson, letting him be the interim. You could have let him be the interim for the first 2 to 3 weeks while you did a manager search and brought in a real legit manager and leader for this team. Someone with some experience. By leaving a guy that in 25 years had never held the big chair, that he was going to lead for the rest of the season when you had spent all this money. It starts at the top with Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson's failing as a manager. Even if we turn around and make a comeback and squeak into the playoffs by the hair of our team, he's not a viable candidate to be the manager of this team long term. He just doesn't have that long-term leadership ability, in my opinion. And I think that is Nick Castellanos gets away with stinking because there's no accountability on him. JT, boom, Odubel. How many times has Odubel struggled, makes an error, right back out there? No accountability. It starts at Rob Thompson, and that's a problem. It's a big problem.
I've defended Rob Thompson, but I can't disagree with you, Phil. I know you and I kind of even went at it a couple weeks back. But
and real quick, I'll let you talk, but I'm not trying to say I don't like Rob Thompson.
No, but he deserves to have some criticism.
And some blame for this team coming out flat. Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. I mean, the whole team deserves it. For the coaching staff, from the manager, from Dombrowski at this point, because he's still done nothing. What has he really done? Like, yes, you could say, well, he was the one that signed these guys. Well, yeah, he did. But maybe it was the wrong signings. Maybe Castellanos wasn't the right signing. I don't know. All I know is this team right now is not trending in the right direction. As our name of the show is trending in the AM,
they're trending down.
In failure.
So you say Dombrowski's not making a move, and yes, Dombrowski should have made 6 moves by now. But that's the problem. The Phillies aren't one move away from being a better team. The Phillies got holes. Even if Segura comes back in the next week or two, even if Harper comes back by the end of August, beginning of September, this team, it needs 1, maybe 2 starting pitchers. It needs another reliever, whether back end or front end. It needs a center fielder. It needs help all over the place. You can't fix this entire team at the trade deadline. So is it even worth Dave Dombrowski making these moves? Is it worth Dombrowski trading Ohapi to go get a center fielder? Is it worth them trading Bohm or I've been saying Hoskins. Some people were making a case to trade Bohm this weekend. Is it worth it? Is it worth going out and getting Castillo from the Reds or Montas and dumping your assets now when you only have the assets to maybe go get 1 or 2 decently impactful players? That's not going to turn the tides of the season around. That's not going to all of a sudden make us a really good team. It's going to make us a better team. You might get that little initial spark from a trade where, you win a few games in a row. But is it enough to really legitly give you confidence? And that's the problem.
I mean, I think it's a very fair question. I personally think they should still do it for the pitcher. I still firmly believe that you look at our pitching staff after this season, and Gibson's gone. Eflin's probably gone. Like, I don't know what the free agent market looks in pitching. I probably have to take a look at that. But to me, if you could get Castillo or Montas, I know that we're probably not going to. But I've made the case for Castillo and why I think he'd be a great asset to pick up. I don't believe getting a bat is going to really be a smart decision if you're giving up, guys, prospects, because there's going to be other bats available in free agency. I mean, I know a lot of people don't believe the report, but there was reports that Trey Turner might be interested in coming to Philly. Like, I don't know, but I'm not going to just go get a bat to possibly help us make the playoffs. If I'm getting a bat, I'd like to get a bat that's going to be here, for the foreseeable future. And
just
right now,
I Google searched free agent pitchers for 2023. It's not good. David Price, Chris Sale, those guys are washed. Carlos Rodon, Noah Syndergaard, Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton will be 39. Wainwright's probably retiring. Kershaw's always on a 1-year deal. Is Aaron Nola free agent? Or has he still got a year of arbitration. Maybe he's got an option to get out, or maybe the player option or team option. I don't know. His name's on this list. Kyle Gibson, obviously, Tyler Anderson, Corey Kluber. These are the names that are the free agents. It's not like a big name. Zach Eflin will be a free agent. Drew Smyling.
That's what I mean when I say that I think if you're going to trade your assets, you might as well go for a pitcher, because that's where I think our biggest hole is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could say that our bat is a hole, but you're missing a huge part of your lineup with Bryce. I mean, Bryce does so much more than just the numbers. Bryce, as you mentioned, he might not be the vocal leader, but he leads on the field. He hustles every game. I mean, every time I think of Bryce, I always think of that one home run when he ran around the bases like, a bat out of hell. And he was like, just, like this, like the energy that he provides to this team. And we don't have that. And it sucks because I see Bryce Harper out and about taking pictures with kids and he's smiling. Like, he's such a great dude. We're lucky and blessed to have him here.
He's such a fan of the Jersey Shore, my least favorite place in the world.
But
he loves Wawa. He's always in a Wawa.
To have him here. Like, we have two national treasures in Embiid and Harper, and we're wasting their primes. We are absolutely wasting their primes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Clubhouse leader, I was thinking of this, the clubhouse leader, to get back on that. I think back to the 93 team. We had Dykstra, Dalton, Kruk. Dykstra to an extent. You had the quiet. Dalton was that guy that pulled you aside in the clubhouse, and if he called you out, you turned it around. Kruk was kind of more maybe the Bryce Harper on the field, the hustle, the rah rah kind of guy. Dykstra was that a-hole guy.
Macho Rowe.
Yeah, exactly. Like Krucker and Harper were kind of that guy. There is no Dalton on this team. That's the problem. And at least that team had Jim Fregosi, a manager that was respected around the league. Charlie Manuel in 08, a respected manager. We don't have that guy in the locker room that's going to call you out, pull you aside, and when he pulls you aside, you're like, I don't want. Nobody on that 93 Phillies team wanted to disappoint Darren Dalton. I've heard stories and interviews with players. They're like, when Darren Dalton pulled me aside for a mistake, I was very genuinely upset because I did not want to let Darren Dalton down. There's nobody like that on this team. And you don't have the manager that can do that either.
There's not many groups like that anymore as far as players. I think that was obviously a special bunch, and they're near and dear to our hearts. I mean, obviously Dalton passing, but yeah, I mean, you can't quantify the importance of having some kind of leader in the clubhouse. Like I said, it's okay.
You had Utley, Howard, and Rollins.
Yeah, you had the same dynamic there. Rollins, I still look at Rollins as a guy that I maybe could be a future manager. I wouldn't be upset if that happened. But I know we're getting off track. But I just feel like not to rehash, but I just feel that starting pitching should be their target. I mean, and I think that the list that you just showed just proves it, because I'm not bringing Gibson back. I haven't seen
Eflin and Gibson both back on the team next year.
Oh, run it back.
That'd be awful. I mean, you look at it, starting pitching. Gibson / Familia got rocked on Friday. Saturday, Zach Wheeler pitched a phenomenal 7 innings. But yet then Alvarado blew it in extra innings. There was some bad to the people that said before the season that defense does not matter. Obviously haven't watched this team this year they're gonna retract those statements, because defense and bad relief pitching blew Saturday's game. And then yesterday you got Bradley Falter going. How much longer, whoever's making the decisions on who to start, are they going to keep running Bradley Falter out there? He's not a major league pitcher. I mean, Sanchez hasn't done much better, but at least he's had some moments of better. Why is he not the guy out there? Why? I mean, all right, so we don't know whether we want to get Montaz or Castillo yet, but there's some smaller guys that are out there, at least a Patchworth kind of guy that you could have gotten to bring in here. Noah Syndergaard, Quintana, you can get them for a little bit less. At least they're not going to move the needle, but they'll get Bradley Falter out of the starting rotation right now. These are the things that Dave Dombrowski's been so quiet that we don't even know what they're doing. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words at this point. I mean, this whole weekend has just been one domino effect of everything snowballing out of control for this Phillies team, and it's got me really, really excited that football season starts tomorrow. That people are reporting to camp tomorrow. I'm excited because I don't know how much more of this Phillies. I almost tweeted out yesterday, Jason, blow it up. So I was that frustrated at one point yesterday.
It's just crazy that we can't have anything nice. It's just every year we get our hopes up for these teams, and just every single year it's something. It's some issue, whether it's injuries, whether it's poor playoff performance, whether it's not being able to make the playoffs after having a hopeful, off season. I mean, there's so many things we could go down the line, dude. We could write books. I mean, people do write books on Philly sports because of that, because of the volatility, the amount of stories that we can tell. I mean, that's why we enjoy doing what we're doing. But sometimes it gets nauseating when we have to rehash the same old shit over and over again. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, that's the Phillies, because that's what they're doing. Like, they have 3 good games and 3 bad.
So it wouldn't even surprise us. I mean, so we just got swept by the Cubs. Awful team. And Atlanta Braves come to town tonight. We got 3 games against the Braves. Team we're trying to chase down. We got Suarez, Nola, and Gibson going in the series. It wouldn't surprise me if we go from getting swept by the Cubs, if we come out and just sweep the Braves. That would just be,
that would be so silly.
Yeah, that would be the way it goes. But you had the Cubs, then the Braves, then the Pirates, then the Braves. So you had 2 very easy scheduled series, scheduled in between 2 very difficult scheduled series against the Braves. And you needed to win the games against the lesser teams because we got 5 games against the Braves in 2 series. Very tough team. The Braves are better than Phillies. There's no doubt about it. Now we have even more pressure on a team that can't handle the pressure. They need to win 2 out of 3 against the Braves. If they go 1-2 or 0-3 in this Braves series, you might as well just sell everything because you're not going to be able to come back from that. There's a lot of pressure. The Phillies come out. You got Ranger Suarez on the mound tonight. You can't be confident in him, but he needs to come out. And there's a lot of pressure on him that he's got to come out and shut that Braves lineup down tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I guess I'm going to try to be hopeful for it. At least we'll be able to watch it on TV, and it won't be on Peacock. Another freaking thing you didn't bring up. Well, you did. You brought up last week. I couldn't have watched the games if I wanted to. I don't have Peacock, and I don't have Apple. So
there's 2 more games in August on Apple TV, just so you know. Yeah. 2 more games in the course of a week.
Brilliant.
They're on Apple. Yeah,
brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah, brilliant. Hey, maybe by that point they'll be out of contention, and it won't matter that they,
Maybe we won't care. Yeah, you're right.
We'll be talking Eagles preseason games at that point, So screw it, But yeah, I mean, it's important that they come out tonight and play and put up. There's a lot of pressure. But how can we as fans, as people that talk to this day in and day out, have any confidence that they're actually going to do what they need to do tonight?
I mean, it's hard to have confidence when you're facing the Braves and you've struggled with them, for a while. I mean, let's face it, you don't do well against the Braves. But then again, you didn't do well against the Marlins for the longest time, and you swept them. So maybe, just maybe, that gives me a little bit of hope that the same could be said for this series. I don't know. I mean, unless a fuse gets lit quickly under like Castellanos or Schwarber starts getting hot again. I mean, listen, he's still hitting home runs, but his average is almost under 200 now again. Like, it's just we need to see some guys have a 3 or 4 week stretch where they're on a tear, and that just hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting, and to me, it has to be possible because it's baseball. I've seen guys go on major, hot streaks. You see it all the time. I mean, even like mediocre players. I mean, you'll have a mediocre player win Player of the Month, and you're like, how did that guy win Player of the Month? Because they just raked at the plate, and we need that. We need like a guy like JT to start, just getting on base and hitting the ball. Like Rhys Hoskins been quiet again. Like, here we go. This is why I'm saying he's expendable, because he doesn't really. It's not that he's a bad player, but he's a guy that I still think has some trade. What's the word I'm looking for?
Trade value.
Trade appeal. Trade value. And I don't know, man. We need something. We need something to light a spark, because we don't have a managerial change that we can make. So we need something else to happen that lights a fuse.
So I want to ask you about yesterday. He did make Rob Thompson finally mixed up the lineup a little bit. Now Stubbs started in place of JT. So if JT was in the lineup, it would be a little bit different. But what were your thoughts on him finally, after all this time, finally making some adjustments, putting Vierling 1, Schwarber 2, Hoskins 3, went Hall in the cleanup spot, Nick Castellanos 5, Stott 6. How Alec Bohm is all the way down to 7. I have no idea. Didi Gregorius 8, Stubbs 9. So if that was JT probably would have been 5th or 6th, and everybody would have been bumped down, another spot there. Is that the right moves, the right spots for people, or do you have? I mean, I'm glad that he tried something different. I just don't know if Matt Vierling in the leadoff spot is really the way to go.
I think it's a little bit too late. I think we've been talking about this like a broken record. That why is Castellanos still in the 3-hole? Why is this lineup the same when it's not producing consistently? I guess maybe Matt Vierling was put there because he's a guy that has a little bit of speed. I don't know, but if you ask me my opinion, I think Alec Bohm should be probably leading off if he's your leading hitter. You need somebody getting on base at this point. Like
Hoskins got the highest on base percentage.
Base runners.
Out of yesterday's starting lineup, Hoskins 336 OBS is the highest on the team, and Bohm second at 317. I personally would have left Schwarber, Hoskins 1-2, and then moved Bohm up to 3. Hall at 4. Hell, Castellanos even 5. I mean, that's still too high. I would have Castellanos 6, 7 in my lineup. There's no reason for him at 5 even at this point.
How about 8?
Sure.
Why don't do it?
Castellanos should be riding the pine.
What's the worst that could happen if you bench the guy for 2 days and then you put him in the 8-hole? What's the worst that could happen? He gets more pissed. Maybe it'll make him wake up and start caring. This
is again back to Rob Thompson, the leader of a team. Saturday night, all this him and Jim Salisbury. Obviously, you could see the emotion boiling over in Nick Castellanos. He's frustrated. He's in the biggest slump of his career. And all that Rob Thompson does is bump him from 3 to 5. Yesterday would have been the day. Nick, just going to take a day. Catch your breath. Let's just, reset. Not that they should need to reset right after the All-Star break, but yeah. You obviously let the emotions get the best of you. Let's call it. Just take a break. And instead they don't do it. And what's Nick Castellanos do yesterday? He got a hit yesterday, 1 for 4, two lifeless strikeouts. Again, Rob Thompson, not a leader of a team long term.
I agree 100%.
I don't know.
You're at a loss. We're both at a loss for words, Phil. This is like one of the quietest moments we've ever had on.
I know. I don't have an answer.
Pace.
The problem for me, Jason, is I'm still at the point where I predicted an 82-win team missing the playoffs, even after signing Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber. I did not have the confidence in this team. because I saw all this. You, Mark, the fan base, the Phillies, everybody got me pumped and told me that this season, because we started winning games after firing Joe Girardi, things turning around. Y'all got me hyped. But I'm seeing again, even in the Marlins series sweep, you see the kinks in the armor. And it's starting to show me I wasn't off base by thinking this team is not good enough. When I said before the season that Odubel had to start in center field and Vierling, that wasn't good enough. I told everybody before the season started, Gibson, not good enough. Eflin, not good enough. And it's all, and I let myself get hyped up. And I'm just getting ready to be let down again.
The real problem with this Phillies team, it's top heavy. It has a lot of high-paid players that are really good, but it doesn't have that balance throughout the roster. Like, you look at a lot of teams like that have a lot of superstars, but they also have a higher ceiling. They have higher floor guys, if that makes sense. Like, their bench is better. Their guys that are, not stars but middle level players are better than the Phillies. Like, we have all our money basically into Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola,
Castellanos,
Schwarber, and JT. It's like 6 players.
We have all our money into these 6 players, and there's a lot of repetitiveness. You got 3 guys that are a DH or corner outfielder. Castellanos, Schwarber, Harper. Harper's a right fielder. Castellanos, Schwarber are both left fielders / DHs. You got 3 guys that are super streaky. Harper's streaks are just a little bit longer. They last a little bit longer when he's hot. JT Realmuto, a streaky hitter. You got 2 top-end pitchers, and then you got 3 guys that are supposed to be number 5 at best. You spent your money all in the same place. Then you got excessive amount of money locked up in a Didi Gregorius. Now, let's be honest.
That comes off the books after this year.
So does Gene Segura. Now, let me tell you something. We are missing Gene Segura for sure. Gene Segura was one of our 2 or 3 best hitters before he went down. But let's not forget that Gene Segura, he's not a stud baseball player. We're his 3rd or 4th team that he's played for because he's good, but not great. But yet he was playing great this year, and we lost. To expect him to come back, we need him now when he comes back to be a great player. But that's a lot of undue expectations being put on a player that is a good player.
But not great.
It's a poorly constructed roster, and it has been for several years. And just going out and spending money on Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber just because they're the 2 biggest names available after the lockout ended was not smart. And I said, look, I got bashed. I said Kyle Schwarber, that's the bronze medal signing right there.
A lot of people bashed you. I said the same thing, Phil. I've been saying it, that I didn't know if it was smart to just sign players for the sake of signing players.
And that's what they did.
So my thing was, I would have signed a guy like Starling Marte. If you really wanted to make this team better and fix what they're missing, a guy like Marte would have been that guy. Like, he's like a 5-tool guy, plays better defense.
I think he plays center field.
Better hitter. Yeah, and he's a better hitter. Pure hitter. He's not as necessarily as much
pure hitters, and then you need your power hitters and your pure hitters. We have too many power hitters. Power hitters are streaky guys.
Yeah, and everyone. But when I said that the Phillies should have signed Marte, I was told, "Oh, that would have been too much money." But then we went and signed Castellanos, and it's like looking back, it's like, okay, well, how is it really any different?
Yeah, I don't even remember who the starting pitchers were. I would, that were available in free agency because it was so long ago. But you spend all this money on Schwarber and Castellanos, but you neglect your pitching. You spend all this money on Familia and Corey Knebel and Brad Hand, but you ignored your starting pitching.
I don't know. I have an answer because, like I said, I was told Dave Dombrowski's a genius and he's going to fix this team, and I still don't necessarily have confidence that it's going to happen under his watch.
Again, I hate to say it, and I'm going to get bashed, but it's overreaction Monday, so I'm going to say it. This team needs to take a step back before it can take 2 steps forward next year. And that step back, I still will say it. Rhys Hoskins is a valuable trade chip. Trade him for what you can get. Get a starting pitcher that you can control for the next 2 years. Get a prospect if you can. If you got to trade Alec Bohm too, trade Alec Bohm. I mean, I know it's not good, and I know trading Hoskins and Bohm is going to make us take a step back, but you kind of got to. You kind of have to step back to step forward.
The problem is that when you're in a rebuild, the Phillies screwed up the rebuild from day one. Matt Klentak and McPhail, huh?
I'm not saying rebuild.
No, but I'm saying that they did. Matt Klentak and McPhail totally screwed things up by A, getting rid of good prospects that we had, and B, letting the prospect pool become a pile of shit. And the whole system was flawed, and they screwed it all up. And now it's like it will take a little less than a miracle or a little more than a miracle for Nebraska to just all of a sudden get this team in the World Series, because the roster is already flawed. We've talked about it ad nauseum. You can't just fix that if you don't have a player pool coming up from the minors. And I know that it's getting better, quote unquote, but it doesn't get better in a year. This thing takes like 3-4 years sometimes for prospects to kind of develop in baseball terms. So I get criticized all the time for saying that I don't believe in this team and because I'm negative. I do believe in the team as guys like Bryce Harper, I believe is in the right, we have the right player to build around. But you don't have those other pieces. Sometimes in baseball, it's just as important to have the small guys, that contribute to your team's success. Look at the Braves last year. The Braves, when they made that trade, all the guys they traded for were kind of like second fiddle guys. They weren't star players. They weren't guys that you were like, oh, at the deadline, wow, they moved the needle on those. And what happened? They all came in and helped that team win. That's the kind of moves that I would think to look for if the Phillies are going to turn this around. Not necessarily a needle mover move, besides who I said. I would like Castillo, but that's on the pitching. But I'm talking about hitting. I'd rather them go out and get a guy that plays Gold Glove center field. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about the bat, because at this point, if your guys aren't going to fix their season, you're not fixing this, regardless of who you trade for. I don't care if you trade it for like a Mookie Betts right now. You're not fixing this team as it's constructed unless Castellanos, Schwarber, Hoskins, all these guys start hitting together like they should. If they were all hitting the way that they should be, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now, Phil. If JT,
it does not get any easier. It does not get any easier because Ranger Suarez against Max Fried tonight. Max Fried's got a 2.64 ERA, a 1.06 WHIP. He's a great pitcher for the Braves. 10-3. I mean, we're heavy underdogs tonight with Ranger Suarez on the mound. Any chance the Phillies win tonight?
I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say, yes, they're going to win, Phil. How about 7-5 win? The bats come alive a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It sounds fantastic, but I just don't know how you can say that with a straight face. Trying to see how he's done against us this year. All right, he pitched against us on May 24th. He went. What happened to my screen there? There it is. 5 hits and 2 runs over 6 innings. And he's only pitched against us once this year. Huh. All right. So not a lot this year against us, but yeah, I mean, I can't put a straight face on and say that the Phillies are going to win tonight. Not against Max Fried, at least, and not with Ranger Suarez. I mean, Ranger Suarez has shown some glimmer of hope since he's come back from his little IL stint. He's shown that he might be putting it together a little bit, but it's Max Fried, and that's the problem. We're struggling. The energy is zapped. Like, we almost need we need something on the Phillies to light a fire. We need like a bench clearing brawl or something that just fires up the team. We need Rob Thompson to come out and get thrown out of the game for arguing with the umpire. Something, just something.
How about maybe they invite Joe Girardi back?
Yeah.
To the clubhouse.
You gonna throw out the first pitch in the game tonight?
Maybe that'll incite them. Maybe since they didn't like the guy or they didn't play for him, maybe if they bring him back, they'll get pissed off. And I don't know, dude. I'm grasping for straws here.
You're grasping for straws. I'm gonna say the Phillies lose tonight, 3-1.
Okay.
It means Ranger Suarez continues to pitch well, but our offense is not going to wake up magically against Max Fried. It just, in my opinion, I would like to see the lineup. This is how I'm going to say it. I would like to see the lineup tonight with Schwarber Hoskins back 1-2, Bowman the 3-hole, Hall in the 4-hole. You put JT in the 5-hole, even though he's been struggling. Put Stott in the 5-hole, then JT in the 6, Castellanos in the 7. And then you go whatever, DD and Vierling, 8-9.
I'd like to see Castellanos on the bench today, just because I think after this whole weekend fiasco.
Can you put him on the bench, though? That means you got to start Vierling and Odubel. And then, definitely we're losing this game.
I would start somebody else.
Who?
Don't you have Munoz? Don't you have these other utility guys?
Do they play the outfield? I don't even know. Can Camargo play the outfield? I don't know. I don't know. It's not the worst thing.
I think he needs to sit, dude. I think he's.
Then you're just writing off another game. You're writing off another game if not that him playing.
You're writing it off anyway. With him in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's very true. All right.
I think
I got a 3-1 loss tonight.
I think sometimes you got to look at, yes, these guys are human, but what do businesses do when employees are struggling? Sometimes,
fire them. You can't fire Castellanos.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying fire. I'm not talking about. I guess it would be considered work performance because his work performance sucks right now. He's not producing.
Yeah.
But you might get put in another position, or you might get. I'm just trying to think of a comparison. Like, maybe maybe you're, in sales and you're struggling so bad, and your boss says, "Oh, well, you're struggling. I'm going to put you over here for a minute. You're going to, do this." I'm trying to liken it to that, but I guess it's not the same thing because it's
a really tough one.
It's a skill.
It really is, he's got to be. You're not going to send him to the minors to get his swing right, but a break is in order for the guy. It really is. It's crazy. But anyway, I think we're going to wrap the show up there because, I'm just frustrated beyond belief at this. It's been a fantastic show. A bad show, a disappointing show, but a fun show. And I'm just going to stay. I'm on Team Apody, just like Mark said earlier in the show. Jaime Apody did nothing wrong in the whole situation. And it's still, we're going to just bring it full circle here. It's disappointing that the Salisbury Castellanos Gelb Apody thing happened because everybody's talking about that. And we did too for the first 20-some minutes. But we at least spent the last 35 minutes talking about the team itself stinking. And do not be distracted, people, by that argument, by that fight amongst the media and Castellanos. Don't let that distract you from the fact that this team is extremely underperforming. And that should be the conversation. Getting swept by the Cubs. Not Salisbury. Is that a stupid question? Which it's not a stupid question. Just a poorly phrased question. Bad timing question. But it's not a stupid question. That's distracting from the real problem, which is the Phillies getting swept by the Cubs. We're going to wrap it up right there, trending in the AM. We'll be back tomorrow. Camp opens tomorrow. We're going to dive back into the Eagles tomorrow, unless something else happens with the Phillies. But we're going to talk Eagles no matter what tomorrow. Guarantee it. Got more Jalen Hurts talk. I want to start talking about different positions and thoughts on them this season. We're going to get into that tomorrow. Jason will be back tomorrow. Jason Voorhees at Mustang3651. Excuse me for a second. Lost my throat there for a second. I am Phil Stifle at Bearded Knowledge. Make sure if you're watching this on replay on YouTube, like and hit that subscribe button down below there. We'd greatly appreciate that. We're at 602. We're on our way to 700 subscribers. So keep doing that, liking and subscribing for me. Everybody have a great day. I don't know what's the opposite of ring the bell. Go Birds!
Go Birds!